It's abominableweapon.com. This is part 2 of the video for corrupt police, prosecutors, public defenders. So I was just getting to the part where the public defenders and the private attorneys, there's an elaborate network of these bitches. First of all, they're established under a law by the state, and they have like offices, kind of like just like the prosecutor's office. They set up an office alongside the prosecutors called the public defender's office. They basically were established to defend the public. And what I've found is that they're fucking cozy. And they're getting money from the state. They're little like state agencies with the alleged purpose of defending the public. But they're privileged on things. They'll go back and forth between the public defender's office and the office of the prosecutor and district attorneys. They interchangeably will go against the public. They just go where their money's at. Okay? So you have these public defenders that aren't really public defenders after all. And they know about secret things. And some of these guys are also judges. Now the judges know about this too. And I don't even know how. Okay? But they're supposed to, like, understand that our laws and our fucking country is built under the Constitution. The Constitution says if you're not fucking built under this, you ain't fucking part of our government. That's what it says. Everything is built on the Constitution. Your right to get money, your right to exist is to fucking support the Constitution. Everyone swears an oath to this thing. Okay? So you're not part of the system, really, if you're some corrupt little bitch who ain't supporting the Constitution. If you believe that the country, the fucking police can kill people and frame them, you're not part of this fucking country. If you think they can use a fucking satellite to rape someone and to use energy weapons on people and to fucking stalk them on the streets and set them up and to go in the court and lie to a fucking jury and judge and everything. Okay? Alright, the public defenders, though, are the worst of these motherfuckers. They will not step out. They will not fucking call these motherfuckers out. They don't have the skill, apparently. They act like they don't have the skill. Actually, they act like they don't have the willingness. They have no willingness to defend a defendant who is a target of any type of government, anything. It's as if they didn't. I've heard these complaints from people. They're being denied, the public's being denied representation on the level that gets some success in court. Like, I had a woman come to me and she told me her brother was framed and that the public defender refused to defend her brother in court, leading to the false conviction. I'm going to focus on my story, but her story sounds exactly like what I'm hearing across the board. Your public defender refuses to defend you on issues when there's some heavy evidence that the police have done some misconduct and stuff. So, with my case, there was heavy evidence that the state was doing misconduct. Stuff about sexual abuse, cover-ups, fucking police refusing to investigate, drug smuggling scandals, illegal surveillance, using NSA stuff to track a person around town. You know, that's fucking illegal shit. Spying on a person, stalking them on the streets, knowing the person's name, knowing stuff that you're not supposed to know about them, all this stuff, and then you come around, you harass them, you're hurting them, you're assaulting them, you're covering it up. Then you beat the fuck out of them. Okay? Now, you come into the public defender's office. Here's the thing. Public defender already knows your fucking name. Knows all the cops involved. Covers the fucking goddamn thing up. Covers everything up. Refuses doing work. You have the names and dates and times of everything. You have emails. You have evidence of shit. There are articles on the internet. Public defenders sitting there refusing to do any work. Refusing. Public defender wants to frame your ass. Send you to the state hospital. And guess what? They're doing it like just ignoring the 6th Amendment. They're using the state hospital. See, a lot of my cases around the crime of the state hospital, these people are using the state hospital like they're best friends and butt buddies with the doctors there. Send them to the state hospital in Oregon, cut off their client from representation at that point. They say, oh, your case is annulled, we can't help you while you're there. Only in Oregon is that happening. You go to other states, there's attorneys. They say that an integral part of representation under the 6th Amendment is you have defense and representation while you're unable to aid and assist and while you're in a fucking hospital. And you have the right to defense from forced drugging and other stuff. Because it's actually against your rights to be drugged up and to have your brain tampered with before a trial. You have a right to a trial and all that. Here they are in Oregon ignoring all this shit. Ignoring it all. But what I'm saying is there's abuse by the public defenders and the fucking private attorneys. And these motherfuckers are abusing the state hospital like clockwork. And the victims are oftentimes like people with low-level crimes having this done to them. And I had this done to me. And I made complaints about it years ago. And there was fucking investigations. And there was fucking Department of Justice was interested in knowing every fucking thing about this. And what they did was behind the scenes go to everybody in town and everyone talks about my case. They try to murder me up at the state hospital. And everyone involved in all this misconduct, all this fucking shit, is informed about it. And they just cover it up. And then and that gives them the opportunity to do it in court. They just keep it all a secret. Keep everything they were doing out of court a secret. And that's what happened to me, man. Jessica Sadak, fucking, there's an executive director of the public defenders in fucking Lane County too involved. There's she has a fellow public defender who's her fucking husband. There's all these public defenders are in on it. I've got audio of a public defender abusing me in court and lying. That was from 2013, around August. I had a psych eval done, and immediately I see her, she's my attorney, and I tell her, there's a conflict of interest, you're not allowed to represent me. Basically, Jessica Sadak had been fired, and she also went on the record and said that there's a conflict of interest with her office and no one that could represent me. And this attorney appoints herself anyway, and then I tell her all this stuff, and she's supposed to get off my case, and I'm supposed to get her a new attorney. Instead, she goes and prints off my psych eval in court. The judge is the previous prosecutor the previous year, and that means he was all involved in this, definitely 100%. Every one of their district attorneys was involved. From Bill Warnisher, Alex Gardner, the fucking females, they were all watching me in court. Everyone knew my fucking face and shit. They're spying on me with NSA surveillance. Everything me and my attorney are doing in private, and it's all going back to them. They're spying on us at the jail. They don't have microphones in the jail fucking attorney office where you talk to them. There's a room there. You're in private. All my conversations back to the sheriffs, back to the motherfucking district attorney. I'm not talking about bugs in the room either. They're using microwave interferometry lasers that listen to your conversations and scan your brain and shit while you're sitting there talking to each other. They're fucking doing their highest tech fucking shit. You know, they do this in other countries too. They said that they have a right to listen and to record conversations of the defense attorney and the client. They have protections there in those countries though. Just like here, where you have the privilege. Well, what they were doing was they were recording all the conversations in other countries because GHCQ and the intelligence agencies they thought they had a right to listen as long as they didn't, use it in court. See, that's the way they've been operating on. They have the right to listen. They just can't use it in court. That means the district attorneys and the police, they're always listening illegally to everything and watching things and using technologies and methods to fucking watch people. But they don't use the information in court. Secretly, the public defenders are complicit in this for like national security, protecting them because they all know about it. They all know about NSA surveillance. Protecting fellow attorneys who know about it, who have committed serious crimes, okay? See, when you go and you tell your public defender you're being assaulted with radiation, they secretly know. It's been out there for decades. Decades. All this has been out there. COINTELPRO, MK Ultra, NSA SIGINT, fucking radar and satellites to watch the fucking public. Okay? None of this is new. None of it's new. It's been out there so long. And they all know about it. They're not stupid. So, as a member of the public, at first you're stupid about it. You don't know nothing about this shit. But they all know about it. They're all trained professionals with college diplomas. They've had secret involvements in operations. They've had chats with each other about this crap. They have chats about it all. It's not secret. And then you find out the few confusion centers tie them all together. The contractors, the fucking local restaurants, the fucking hospitals, emergency responders, all the cops. Everyone's tied together. And then you find out everyone knows my name around town. From the goddamn people who drive the ambulances, and they're all spying on me. Oh God, if I show up at the local hospital, they have security fucking come out and fucking start tracking me around the hospital. All their fucking staff know my fucking face. All the doctors know who I fucking am. They're watching me. And they participated in the operation against me. I've been hurt by the government, so I go in there and I say I've been hurt and they won't help me on purpose. And they've got different staff who all fucking are involved. And they fucking like, one doctor, he sends in a nurse to deliberately stab me with a needle and botch a fucking blood draw, just stick it in me and hurt me, and he's making faces at me. And they do that 2 different times. Nurse is giving me a dirty face. There's a secret operation going on there. They're all refusing to help me at Peace Health in fucking Eugene. This is the type of crap that was going on. And then you find out that the defense attorneys were approached with information about everything beforehand. And they all know my case. That I'm being stalked around. That there was all this stuff up at the state hospital. That they're trying to do it under the table. That they're using this weapon on me and shit. And there was experimentation done on me and everything. Everyone knows. But one thing about it is they're not going to be willing to speak up about it. Because it's such a huge crime, they got to cover it up. So, in 2011, I just told you about that the judge in court and the public defender. Well, she was going to replace herself. There was a conflict of interest. Instead, she goes and tells the judge, I have a motion to submit to send him to the Oregon State Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. And she includes a copy of my own doctor's evaluation named Kathy Meadows. Oh my God. So you hear me all of a sudden, I'm sitting there telling the judge that that's what my story is. I have my website. Then the sheriff tells me to shut up. You're not going to say any more about this. And then they I just start yelling obama'sweapon.com because they grabs me. They throw me down the ground and start beating me up. All the sheriffs did. They pulled me out of there. They didn't want me to say anything more. But Marie Desmond, that public defender, admits, he goes, I say, well, she just admitted there was a conflict of interest and she's supposed to withdraw. Why? How is she able to file a motion on my case if she ain't my attorney? She's been fired. And she goes, to honor this, that's true. I did tell him that I was going to withdraw. Right there. There's microphones recording all this shit. Because she wanted to sabotage my case and try to get me locked up so that I wouldn't have a chance of defending myself. But guess what? Even getting a new attorney, I was out of there in no time because I was defending myself. I had Kathy Meadows ready to call in like a court hearing about some of the stuff at the state hospital and everything. And I had called Freedom, and they were fucking like calling the district attorney's office and the jail. I get sent to the state hospital. We're all trying to prepare for me to get them in trouble. I file a habeas corpus and everything. And I passed my evaluation like I didn't even need to be there because I'm just a victim of government torture getting beat up. I'm not a mentally ill person, right? And I get sent, I go back down to court. Well, little did I know, all the public defenders are involved. They give me a new attorney. They're all refusing to defend me, all on the same level. They're actually saying, oh no, we're not going to investigate anything about the prosecutor doing anything like this. And they're all fucking butt buddies with them. One attorney, a public defender, I don't know their names. One's Andrew Ross. One was this other guy. We'll have to look up the record to get his name again. But he is actually one of the assistants of the judges. And he's a public defender. He's handling fucking things for the court. There was a judge named Judge Rasmussen who, on the record, abused me in court, calling this all a conspiracy theory. But that's the cover. The judge's asses and the public defender's asses. I had one attorney before this tell me that they were handling this all specially for the state. The prosecutor themselves had been secretly communicating information that basically they were admitting this was happening to them. And so special, under the table, they gave me a special deal on another case. That was Dave Logan, the prosecutor in that case. The types of stuff they'll do back in the day was like they'll send, the police, they all know me. So they sent like a fucking woman into the court with a female officer. She's a corrupt bitch. But she was just putting on a show for me in court. They would pick out specifically females with attractive nature. And this is the type of sexual abuse that they're doing to me. And they did this because, hey, outside of the fucking jail and outside of the courtroom, I'm fucking advocating for women's rights on the internet and stuff. So one of the things that they did was put on a show with women. Women stalkers. Fucking female jail guards being set up to come and do the interview and to touch me and stuff. And fucking dirty shit. Harassive shit. Have the jail guard sit there and put on a little show like she's standing there and you see her like it was all part of the show. Knowing that eventually she's going to catch your eye or something and that you're going to see her doing what she's doing. That's what it was about. The cops were doing that shit. The cops followed me around too and harassed me as well. I mean, it wasn't like they're doing this for fun. This is to harass me. It's not to help me, not because they're supportive of me. Well, Dave Logan gave me a special deal under the table. Okay? And there's stuff on the record. My attorney goes, oh no, it's special. It's special. It's done just for you. And then she lies afterwards and says that's not what she said. Because she's covering her ass because now I'm upset. I'm saying this is evidence of her doing it. I don't know this woman's name. This is in 2010, before SADAC gets involved, before the public defenders do this shit in 2013. This is, I'm just trying to remember her name, but there's another attorney in 2010. There's so many of them. None of this has been investigated. It's all out there waiting to be investigated. But you got to wonder, if I have evidence of my abuse, why aren't the public defenders using it? In fact, I got audio calls recorded now to prove that the public defenders and the attorneys were refusing to do their jobs. And that's the pattern and practice. You can't be enemy of the state and get help from these free attorneys. And you're not going to find an attorney that does the defense necessary. This is simple stuff. You look up COINTELPRO. You see they have a long history of having this ability. Now, all they've done today is beef that shit up. They've got new technologies, more technologies, all authorized and legal today, being used secretly on every citizen. It's just gotten to the point that it's out of control, and they have prison-like control over every city now and every citizen out in the public. Now, they secretly track everything, right? Well, that doesn't mean they're trying to do this to protect everyone from crime. That's the thing. That's not what it's about. It's just about having information available to them about everything. And they're not allowed to use it in court. You see the stingrays? If they get exposed for how they got intelligence information, they just drop the case. The FBI's done doing that. Stingrays. Across the country, you find out stingray was used in your case. The judge might order, hey, turn over information about this and explain what the stingray is and let the defense see what the stingray does and all that. They just drop the case or do a plea bargain. Give them an awesome deal. Lower the charges to practically nothing. That's to prevent there from being anything in the record about it. And they don't want the judge to make a decision. They don't want the appeals court to get it. Stuff like that. They don't want the media to get it. They're using this stuff all over. And, the public defenders are involved in it. You can't get help, dude. I am so fucking... I've only had one attorney out of all of these other attorneys do anything about this. This is Jed Peterson, an appeal attorney who worked at the state public defender's office before. And then he switched over to a private firm. And that's how he's representing me now. The state contracted to hire his office, so a private firm. And his private firm, they have prosecutors, former prosecutors, and public defenders too. And they label themselves as experts at some of their expertise is in investigations and fraud and probes of places. Well, anyway, this attorney, Jed Peterson, is the only one who's ever argued anything that I said with my mouth in court. To a degree, Halpern did once. He told the judge, he explained to them what I was going through, and then what he was trying to investigate this. He called it an electronic system being used to assault me. This was a private attorney that I paid out of pocket. But he was abusive too. I mean, because months go by, he has the ability to go and get money for investigation. He didn't do that. There was no investigation done. He was pushing me to a plea bargain. And then James Jagger, I hired him next. He did the same fucking thing. Pushing me to a plea bargain. Now, I heard great things about this guy. James Jagger, he's had people complain about him too in the past. I went back and I found an 80s case where he misrepresented a client. He was doing the same thing, failing to provide that one-on-one defense that was actually going to work in court. And in my case, he ends up doing the same thing. Just fucking... Dude, I gave him names of witnesses to hire. I gave him names of, doctors, people in the country who are experts on what I was talking about. He had access to the internet to figure this stuff out. There was stuff on TV and radio back then. He would have... Carol Smith was a witness I was talking about. Another was Cheryl Welsh. And they would have found Derek Robinson. They would have found Dr. Robert Duncan. I told him about Russell Tice, NSA whistleblower. God damn, dude, he didn't hire nobody that was on the level of dealing with technology and abuse by the state. Okay? And they were going to fucking, have me falsely convicted, so... I got falsely convicted because I was forced to take... My attorney forced me to take a deal. No defense after 2 years of waiting for a trial. And hoping my attorneys would defend me from this, and they didn't. Now I find out in future cases I'm being watched by the attorneys in town. In court, they're all fucking watching my case. That when the judge made a decision on one thing that we were going to go to trial, and I wasn't going to get a new attorney, you see all the motherfucking attorneys in the court watching me who I don't even know some of these guys. Like, there's something going on, man. They're all watching me. I guess they were all happy that I wasn't going to get the help that I was supposed to get or something. That's the way I saw it. I saw it as my complaints about the attorneys were not going to go nowhere, I guess. But it wasn't just these attorneys. There was people in the courtroom, too. I was being watched by clerks, different people and shit, everyone. Lane County is the most corrupt place to be. And I had theories on all these. I mean, are they all friends with these other attorneys who were involved and abused me? There's a trial association thing going on. Is there some secret pact where these attorneys are actually like contractors and they're involved in some of the surveillance stuff and they're just covering up their involvement in all this? That's the level of stuff that this stuff is happening on. And I don't even know. I know the public defenders, like I was trying to explain, are state agencies established next to the prosecutor district attorney's office with the purpose of allegedly defending the public. None of this stuff is secret because it's been so long. It's been decades. And like I was trying to explain, there's other ways they get the information. District attorneys turn public defenders. Public defenders turn fucking prosecutors and district attorneys. And then they get in there, they're agents. And I don't know the full how it all works. Maybe the public defenders are secretly agents, using surveillance behind the scenes, knowing how it all works. You know, they've been around forever. They're friends with everyone in town. That's the way it usually works. They're friends with everyone in town. They won't go against what's going on. God damn, that there's so many levels that these issues can be identified on. There's reasons to see there's conflicts of interest. Now, I've seen in other people's cases they would raise these issues. Oh, the public defenders, there's a public defender that's friends with a clerk at the jail, and now this person who's friends with the person in jail gets arrested. And so the connection is the person arrested is friends with the person at the jail. So, and the public defender was friends with that person at the jail. So they go, oh no, we can't have the public defenders representing them. We have to go out of city to get somebody from another town to do the representation because of a conflict of interest. See, they're very good at identifying this in other people's cases. I've even heard a judge go, oh, anyway, I believe this is all parallel construction here. The judge in other people's cases would acknowledge a conflict of interest, but not mine. They did this. In the same hearing where I'm sitting there saying there's a conflict of interest with the public defenders, well, here the prosecutor identifies that he was involved in the woman's prosecution the year before. He was one of the district attorneys while this case was going on. He goes, oh, so there's a conflict of interest if I make a decision on this case. I should not make a decision and defer this to another judge. But he was also the district attorney, the prosecutor, during one of the cases that I was being prosecuted in. So how come he didn't identify that with my case? But anyway, he should have. And then he refuses to acknowledge that there's a conflict of interest with my attorney. And I thought he did that on purpose. Just to fucking frame me. Oh yeah, here's another reason they do it. They get the state hospital, all their doctors up there, in to write a report to frame me and send that to the court and get it on the record. So they'd be able to help frame me. That way. To go against my doctor, Kathy Meadows, who's a psychologist. Fucking master's in psychology. Her report said I was a victim of this and my rights were being violated. my own public defender wanted to override this report with the state hospital's doctor's reports. Why would she want to do that? She didn't, and she's not even my attorney. She's been fired under conflict of interest. See? God damn. So you go to Lane County and you can order a CD audio of this. And you'll hear the judge and my attorneys and all this crap going on in court. You'll hear Judge Rasmussen call this all conspiracy theory, and I'm being assaulted and stuff and attacked and stalked in the streets, and my attorneys aren't doing their jobs. And he's sitting there abusing me like that on the record. No one doing their job to help me. Just sweeping in the rug. Oh, yeah.